noticed my camera had no battery, so I had to go plug it in. So we'll let that charge just a minute. Effective things, I can take photos with it plugged in. Back in just a minute, and then we'll get everything on the road. Looks right. I can turn desktop audio off. We don't need that. Hello again, everybody. Thanks for coming in and joining me at the last minute on this Sunday morning. I've got a couple hours to kill before the Titans game. I'm going to be watching the Titans game. Now, I threw this, I threw the camera up here on the side. I got my mic here. I don't know if you've got good audio or not. It looks like it's okay on the screen. So I'm watching the little sound. What do they call it? The sound volume meter, I guess. Okay, so I've got my Canon. Oh, I'm showing it to the light. Okay, great. I've got a Canon R800 right there. It's going to be that's what I normally take my photo. It's a camcorder, but I use it to take still pictures of, because I really like its ability to what's the word? Zoom, not zoom, but get macro. So like when I have a miniature that I'm about to sell, I can get the camera in real close, like within 3 inches of the miniature, and it will still stay in focus. I don't know if you knew this, but I used to work in the camera department at Best Buy. I used to work in the cameras and in the computers. And I looked at a lot of different cameras that we sold at Best Buy, specifically for taking photos up close on miniatures. And this was the best one for me. It was. I mean, it's 1080. It's not 4K, right? But the amount of the way the focus works up super close was good. It has a really long battery life. It's actually a good camcorder as well. Yeah, I've considered a lot of the other different cameras, but that was the best one for me. Okay, so what I wanted to do this morning, I could have did this off camera. I could have just did this on my own, and then maybe made a video later saying, hey, this is what I did. But I figured that it would be nice to kind of live stream this, so that if you were interested and you wanted to watch and kind of see my thought process as it develops real time, instead of me editing out all the ums and buts and should I do it this way or should I do it that way in my own head, instead of me editing out all that and just showing you the meat and potatoes, now you can see all the thought process. Okay, as you know, we switched, and I hope you can hear me. I walked halfway across the room. As you know, we switched from a 40 millimeter frontage miniature base like this, right, to, I don't know, can you see any of that? I don't know if you can. You're not really going to be able to see. I might have to adjust the focus of this camera for you guys. That won't affect this camera because I'll be looking at my little viewfinder and it'll tell me exactly what I'm doing. But let's adjust that so you can see these figures. Boop, boop, be-doo, walking away. Okay, you can probably see them, but I'm still going to adjust it. What is that? That's my Brio. We'll go to properties. Is that a thing? Configure. And I've only got it set to 1440. It goes all the way up to 4K, but camera control. let's do this a little bit more. That works. Yeah, that's why. Yep, that looks like it'll work. There we go. Just nosed it down a little bit so you can see the figure centered on the screen. Okay, bear with me. Okay, so for those of you that follow my Wargaming in Miniature YouTube channel, you might also follow my Napoleonic project updates. So a lot of this will be, okay, I just put something in my mouth, so bear with me. A lot of this will be second nature or repeat information. But I switched from a 40 millimeter frontage basing style, which is a 15 millimeter depth. I've decided not to go with that. I decided to go with a 20 millimeter frontage, 30 millimeter depth, so if I had two bases at 40 millimeters back to back, and then I had two bases 20 millimeters side by side, it occupies exactly the same amount of space on the table, same exact number of miniatures, everything is exactly the same. It's just that now I've got easier to maneuver bases and they're side by side instead of front to back. And I explained all that in one of my Wednesday live streams. So today, oh, okay, back up just a little bit. So I just want you to know, okay, the thing in my mouth is medicine, and it's a chewable, and I have to kind of wait for it to completely go, you know, before it sounds like I've got something else in my mouth. We're a little informal today. I got my PJ bottoms. Because like I said, it is Sunday before the big game. Okay, it's not the big game, it's just a game. So what I plan to do today, which, okay, my point is, okay, I don't know how to say all this. Again, this is not scripted. This is live. I guess I'm live too. Dang. This is not, you know, this camera is not what I'm using to record these photos, right? I'm going to be using this to take the photos. I just have this camera on so you can see the process. So the angle and the resolution and everything is not going to be the same here as it is there. I'm full of gas this morning, so I apologize if you guys are hearing that. And if that medicine hits me the wrong way and I have to make a run to the bathroom, I'll just let you know. And I'll be gone for maybe 3 or 4 minutes. Okay, so... okay. It's a horrible start to this video. But hey, we're live. If you want to do if you want to chat with me, you feel free. I'm not at my computer. It's actually halfway across the room on the desk. I'm at the table. If chats pop up and I notice them, because I'm glancing over there every now and then, if I notice them, then I will run over there and try to answer them, or address them. But that's not really what I'm here for. What I'm here for is to take these photos. What today is going to be about is me pulling figures off my shelf, putting them on the table, and then I'm going to arrange them in different formations and unit sizes and combinations of arrangements. I might even put like a whole brigade on the table or a division on the table, just so that when I take these photos, I'll be able to take the photos, and I'll take multiple photos from different angles so that I can pick and choose which ones I like best later. And I'm going to use them in my rule book, my rule book, because you know that I'm in the middle of writing a set of Napoleonic rules called Marshals and Generals. All right, so this is what I need to do. I'll be back in about 2 minutes. I'm heading to the bathroom. Sorry that it had to be like this, but I'll be right back. Okay, that was a lot faster than I expected. All right, so now do I plan to put any terrain on the table or anything like that? No, because I don't want to distract from my photos of the actual figures. And those of you that stuck around and stayed with me, thank you. I see there's a couple of chats out here. No skirmish. I don't understand that. Okay. Yeah. As you know, in my set of rules, there's not really a skirmish formation. Thank you for pointing that out. Okay, so because you as a battalion commander slash, you're not the battalion commander. The battalion commander is making that decision to deploy skirmishers. You are not the battalion commander. You are not even the brigade commander. Wait a second. You're not even the company commander. You're the corps commander. And the corps commander does not tell battalions to deploy skirmishers. Okay, so let's see here. Just FYI, last night, maybe it was last night, maybe it was the night before. I'm losing track. Yeah, it could have been one of those nights. I had finished all my French units that I already have painted. The units I already have painted, I've all the French has been converted to the new basing style. Yeah, so my French is up to date. So any new French that I paint will be put on the new basing style. So I don't have to worry about that. But the British and Allies, they are way behind. They're about 50% done. I need to really get in on that and do basing properly for the Allies. Okay, so I want to take some photos. As you know, I keep repeating myself, but oh yeah, I'll just leave that in. I don't need to because it's got a battery and the battery's got a good charge. Let's double check the charge here while takes a second for the battery charge to identify. The cover is open. No, it's not. Okay, it's not showing the battery. Why? Because it's plugged in. 77 minutes. Okay, that's not bad. We'll go with 77 minutes. Actually, I can just drop that on there right there. Alrighty then. Okay, so the reason why I'm doing these photos is because I want my rules, right? I want people that are interested in my rules. Maybe they've never played Napoleonics before. Maybe they are, maybe they don't understand what I mean by certain things. And I want it to be clear as day what I'm talking about. Okay? So, and I want them, i.e. you or whoever is playing the game or interested in playing the game, knowing exactly what I mean by X or what I mean by Y. Okay. First formation we will take a photo of is line formation. Okay. Also, hopefully I don't forget, because I don't have a sheet over here listing off all the formations that I need. This is going completely 100% off the top of my head, but luckily I am a genius and I know everything. Okay, I'm kidding, but if I miss something, it's no big deal. I can always come back in and take more photos. But what was I trying to say? I'm going to take all these photos off of the camera, and I will upload them in a separate video on YouTube explaining each of the formations, and that way you'll actually get a chance to see what the photos look like from the camera. Because in this live stream, you will not get a chance to see that because I'm not using this camera to do the photos, the photocules. Okay, I see that I might be getting in the way of myself. So, okay, this is good. Let's not zoom in too far because I want the photo, when I take these photos, I want them to be kind of easily identified. What's the word I'm looking for? Easily like figured out. So not only am I going to take formation photos, I'm also going to take like unit size photos. Okay, that's called a 2/3 shot. Now I'm going to take an angled 2/3 shot. Maybe with some light. I probably should come a little closer to my light source, or what am I thinking? Just move the light source. Okay. Yes. Okay, I'm changing the camera mode because it looked a little dark. Okay, let's... Here we go. Exposure. Okay, keeps changing. There we go. There we go. Adds a little brightness. I up the exposure just a little bit. Line formation. Boop. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do any straight, top down, just so they can see exactly where all the bases are and stuff. But I think I will do that. Okay, there we go. We got our straight on, we got our 2/3 elevated, and we got our straight up and down. Okay. Now I don't want to use the same unit in every photo. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I don't. Okay, the next one is going to be a French attack column. I don't have any Prussians painted, but that's okay. I got Brunswickers and Nassau and stuff. Okay. Straight on. That looks good. At an angle. And straight up and down. Now I'm going to grab a couple extra bases from, okay, those, probably shouldn't use those. Yes, I should. I'm going to use them. In case it's a large formation, I want people to see the difference. Large. Straight up and down. Maybe that's a little much. Good. And then also, if the unit is smaller, I want them to see that as well. The line is pretty self-explanatory. It's just everybody side by side, so that doesn't need to be shown at different sizes. Frontal, a quarter angle, and a top down. Boy, you guys are having a, okay, I zoomed in a little bit too much, so now I got to back out a little bit. Okay. That looks good. Now, a tiny unit would be two bases like this, but a tiny unit would never look like this. Okay, so let me get a tiny unit out. Well, first of all, a tiny unit would never be in a column, and a tiny unit would never be in, could be in a line. Yeah, I don't know if you knew this, but I'm in Tennessee, and we're under a severe weather advisory. Not rain. They're saying the wind is going to get really high, and I'm hearing stuff like blowing around outside. I don't know if you hear that or not, but I certainly do. Okay, so yeah, since a tiny unit will never be in an attack column, then there's no need to show that. Okay. What's the next formation? A march column. Okay. There we go. We got a NASA unit there. It's a large NASA unit. Might have to zoom back a little bit or more. There we go. A march column at an angle. Diffused lighting. Yeah, there we go. That's the best way. Oh yeah, that's better. Boop. And then a top down, I think, might be a little difficult this way, because the way, I mean, I could have turned the camera, I suppose. My NASA Oosagans. Okay, we're gonna give them a side look as well, and the top down. Okay. Okay, so right now I showed line, attack column, okay. There is a formation I want to show that is not a legitimate formation. Or might be a legitimate formation if I decide to do column of companies, which I don't think I will. It just doesn't look right, because with 4 stands, that's an attack column. So by putting additional figures behind it like this, that's not the attack column, because the attack column is supposed to be like that, right? This was a legit formation, but I don't feel like it's got a place in my rules. So I'm going to take a photo and I'm going to explain it in the rules that this is not a legitimate formation. I keep moving more to the left. Okay, not a legit formation. I'm not going to take a top down on that one. Okay. So let's talk unit sizes. I still have artillery and cavalry that I need to do, but I'm just focusing on infantry right now, just to get my just to get the infantry out of the way. This is a tiny unit. There we go. All of that should work. And you'll notice that the tiny unit is on a different scale base. It's actually on a 30 by 30 because tiny units are always deployed in a skirmish style formation. So the 30 by 30 is the skirmish base. So it's not that. So a 30 by 30, that's 60 millimeters across, which is the same frontage as an attack column 3 bases, right? So that would be the same frontage, but less figures, less stands, same depth, 30 by 30. Okay. So that's a tiny unit. That is a, whoops. Come on, exit out of that. Okay. That is a small unit. That is your standard size unit. And then there is the large 8 base unit. Okay. So we've got tiny, small, medium, and large. Perfect. When it comes to infantry. Okay. We got all the infantry formations. We got line, attack column, march column. Okay, so far so good. Okay, let's jump into, believe it or not, artillery. Yeah, here we go. Okay, artillery has a few different formations. Okay, this would be, we're going to do sizes right now. This is a small artillery battery or a half battery. Okay. This is your standard battery. And this is what we would call a large battery. It's not a lot of units out there that have large artillery batteries, but I'm showing it for completeness sake. Okay, so we got the size of the batteries. Now I'm going to show formations, even though it's pretty much the same photo. You've got your deployed, a couple of different angles here. Okay. Then we would have limbered. I'm going to move this up a little bit. So the limbered would show the limber up front and then the guns in the rear. Okay, I'm trying to get a good focus, good lighting. Straight on. And then an angle, which, just like a march column, I think would benefit from a side shot. Okay. If it was large, it would still be like that. And if it was small, it would still be like that. Okay. So we got the artillery deployed and limbered. We got the infantry in, oh yeah, square. Dang, almost forgot about that one, huh? Okay, square formation. How could I forget square? Note the back rank is turned around. Okay. Square. Square. I probably could go from this side and get better lighting, huh? Square. And this might benefit from the top down. Square. Okay. Okay, so we got the square out of the way. Pretty simple. Back rank turned around. Okay, let's talk cavalry. No, we won't. Let's talk generals, because I've got them sitting right here. General. General. Okay. You know what? I'm going to put these out just a tad bit further. Okay. All right. So we have, our brigade, our division, our corps, and then some games will have army or wing generals. There we go. That's all we need out of that. Just so people can kind of see what they're looking at on the general front. Okay. Cavalry. Let's do sizes first. You know what? I'm not going to use... I'll use the French for other things. But for the size, I'm going to use these guys. No, I guess I'll use different units. Okay, all of this works. Okay, so let's go with a small cavalry unit. It's the Brunswick Uhlans right there. One of my favorites. Brunswick Uhlans. Give me a quarter shot. And a top down. That looked good. All right, so that is a small cavalry. Now in my rules, I'm thinking I'm not going to bother with tiny cavalry units. They would have been used as scouting and stuff like that, and not really in a combat role, so they wouldn't affect the battle as a combat element. They would have affected the battle in other ways, like reconnaissance and things like that, which there are reconnaissance rules that I'm working on. So, yeah. Okay, so this is a standard size unit. Oh, wait, what am I doing? Okay. So now I'm trying to decide if I'm going to allow a cavalry unit to have a line formation like this, right? Because when you start getting into the large cavalry units, you start to get this cavalry line that is way longer than any ground scale, the distance, the measurement, the footprint of the unit is way bigger than was historically accurate. So a lot of rules say that a cavalry unit can deploy in line like this, but they can also form a double line like this. And I think I want to make, and some other rules, force base their units like this with a 1x2, kind of base. And what I think I want to do is definitely allow this, but maybe not allow this and this. I don't know. I have to think about this. Because that looks impressive on the table, and who cares, right? I mean, it just, looks are more important than historical distances, right? I mean, come on. I don't know if you can see that. I don't even know if it's focused. Monster Dragon Iced Tea with lemon. Okay. I think if it's a small unit, I don't see a problem deploying like that. And even a standard size unit, I don't see a problem deploying like this. But a large unit, I do see a problem deploying like that. And if I force this to be a 2-rank line, then I am penalizing them to have the same frontage as them. Yes, there's more figures, more depth, more hitting power and all that. But I think because of the way cavalry functioned, I think it should always be in 2 ranks. Always. Tell me what you guys think. If you have an opinion about that. Because if they always fight in 2 ranks, then you're going to get a balance between the different sizes of units. It's going to force a balance. This would all be considered line. That's no problem. And people might say, well, why don't you just base them like this if you're going to force it? Well, I've considered it. Why base them like this if you're not going to allow them to fight side by side like that? Or what I possibly could do is to I think this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to allow the players to go single file or double and give an advantage to the units that are in double. Because they're more concentrated. They should get a better advantage. There's not going to be there's going to be follow through with the second rank and all that. So I think I'm going to give the players incentive, not force it. See, if you give them incentive, they'll naturally do it, and they'll do it the way you want them to do it. But without limiting them to not being able to form a long line. If they want to form a long line, they can. It would probably be detrimental, but it would be allowed. I think I just solved that on camera today with you guys. Okay, now what those detriments are and what those modifiers are, I have no idea. But I already took a picture of the small unit in line. Now I'm going to take a picture of a medium unit in line, but two types of line. One, and then alternatively, two, and then a 3/4. I can zoom in a little bit. 3/4, top down. Okay. And then the same thing with the large unit. Luckily, I don't have to rebase any of my allied cavalry because nothing's going to change. It's just the allied infantry that I've got to rebase about half of my units that I've got painted. I still have about half the units that aren't even painted. Okay, that's a large unit in line. I'm going to do that too. Just never know which picture I'm going to use. I'm taking multiples. That way I can pick and choose which photos turned out the best or shows the unit in the proper, in a way that you can visualize in the rules. And then I think this one would benefit from a top down. Here I am sticking my tongue out. All right, there we go. We got small, medium, and large. There's no tiny when it comes to cavalry. I explained that because of reconnaissance. Okay. Baggage security and stuff like that. Okay, so we touched generals. We touched cavalry, artillery, infantry, I think I think we touched everything photo-wise. For the rules, that is. Oh, that's got a barrel. Okay. I think I'll take a couple of pictures of building sectors just so that, because it is another way to deploy, and that is in buildings, right? Okay. So let's put those a little closer, just so that I can get them in camera. There we go. All right, so let's get a deployed French unit in one of these town sectors, just so the player would know what I'm talking about when it comes to being deployed. That's deployed. Doesn't have to be deployed exactly like that, but that's just an example. Okay. All right, so let me put some of this cav away. I'm going to put a French division on the table, and in the photos, I'm going to add like arrows and subtitles and stuff like that, which is going to show, you know, the gap between command radius and being in command and not being in command and stuff like that. But I'm taking, basically I'm just picking up the ones that I'm not going to be using here. So did I show cavalry and march column? I did not. It's pretty much self-explanatory. Showing the infantry and march column, cavalry and march column is exactly the same, so I don't think there's a necessity to take a picture of that. taking a second, putting all this away, getting it out of the way. These are all British generals. Well, one of them is orange, so he's not a British general. But he is, but he's not. Okay. And the Black Watch here. Okay. Okay, we're going to start off by putting a French brigade on the table. Basically, I'm just going to put 4 battalions. Or 5. We'll put whatever I got, whatever I can grab. Okay, it'll be 5. And we'll put a French brigade general out there. Okay, so I don't actually have to measure accurately because I'm gonna, on the picture, I'm just gonna draw a ruler or a line and say how many inches it is, when in fact it could be 4, could be 5, whatever. Like I might say something is 6 inches apart when in reality it's 8 inches apart or something. It's just for looks. Hopefully that made sense. Okay. I keep hearing noises in the house, but I think what that is the wind. It's playing with me. Okay, turn them around. They were in square. Okay, so there are a number of French units, and I'm going to say that he is too far away, right? So these guys are all in range of command, but in the picture I'm going to show that he is not in command because he's too far away. That's the idea. Wow, to get all that into camera, I got to get real far back. Yikes-a-mundo. Okay. No problem. We can do it. We can make this happen. Okay, does that light look better? Yeah, it's all right. Again, I'm taking pictures from different angles. This light's like right on my lens. Okay. Yeah, that was probably the best picture, the straight up and down one. What time are we looking at? 11:14. Oh yeah, I got 45 minutes till the game. I don't know if you guys follow Titans football, but the Titans were #1 last year in their conference. They had a bye, and then their first game was against the Cincinnati Bengals last year, and we got our ass kicked. So we were first, basically won a ton of games, but when it came to the playoffs, when it came to the playoffs, we lost. And today's game is against the Bengals, which a lot of the fans are saying it's a revenge game. Yeah, whatever. I mean, it might be, but I just think it's a game that, there's some animosity, bad blood, or whatever, but okay, so I'm going to make 2 4-battalion brigades. That'll be 1. This will be 2. Okay, so now in my rules, we don't look at brigade artillery. We only have divisional artillery, right? So I'm getting ready to put a division out here, basically 2 French brigades. So I think I need to put the divisional artillery out there as well. Okay, so we got a brigade commander there. We got a brigade commander there. We're going to have a division commander. We're going to have artillery deployed. Okay. So what this is a French division. Yeah, that works. Because what I'll do is I'm going to show that the division commander is in command of each of his brigades. Each of the brigade commanders are in command of his battalions, right? And then the way I'm working it is the division commander doesn't actually give orders directly to units, even though he can. The artillery can get orders from either the division commander or either of the brigade commanders. So if I wanted to, I don't know, you probably might not be able to see this on the camera, but I could put the artillery way off to the side and it would still be in command because either of the brigade commanders can give that unit orders. Or if there's no brigade commander, like this brigade commander's over here and this brigade commander's over there, they can still get orders directly from the division general, which is true for the battalions as well. So Basically, the brigade commanders, all they truly do is extend the command range of the commanding officer, right? So you got a company commander. Technically, if he's in range of all the battalions, they're all in command. But if this guy was way out in BFE, he would not be able to reach that. But if he had a brigade commander in range, it would extend his range. So I think I'm going to deploy something like this so that that kind of stands out as part of the deployment. Does that make sense? Okay. But what just happened? Did I run out of battery or something? Did I push the on-off button? I think I ran out of battery. Okay, but I knew I only had 70 minutes and we had gone on too long. So that's why I've got this charger right here. I'll plug it in. But I don't know if I can take that picture up close to where, you know, this thing doesn't have a wide angle. I have to stand back a little bit. Okay, it's charging, so let's see if it'll power on. There it goes, it's coming on. I'll have to stand back. Okay, this is good. I got the whole thing. I'm at wide as I can get. Yeah, that was a good looking picture. Okay. Let's see if I can get a top down of this thing. I can, it's not too bad. Right there, okay, good. And I don't necessarily want to do a core, but I am going to get a core general. I'm going to put him in the picture. Bring him back. Bring him forward. I'm going to adjust this just a little bit to give a different kind of an example. Making it really wide. Okay. Okay, so let's try something. Put him there, but I'm going to put him over I want him to be in range here, but I want him to be out of range there. It's not really going to happen that way. That'll almost never happen. That looks like it would happen. There's Corps Commander. Okay. So this division is now, whoops, back out of that. Okay, so this division is deployed a little bit differently now, and it will be another example of how command and control reaches. In my rules, officers only command 2 levels below them, not 3, only 2. And I took that out of the writings of Patton. And I'll explain it here. I'll explain this little picture once I get a top down. Oh, that looks good. All right. I think I can turn that off. Okay. So if you think of the miniature, right? 1, 2, and 3, you can see that on the actual base. Got 1 general, 2 generals, 3 generals. That represents their rank, basically, their position in the chain of command. And think of the units themselves as 0, right? They are the subject of the command, so they don't generate command. They are 0. They have a 0 command radius, a 0 command ability. So they're zeros. And you can only command 2 levels beneath you. So a 1 can command a 0. That's no problem. The 1s can command 0s. The 2 can command a 1 or a 0, because the 2 is only 2 levels above the battalion. So you go battalion, brigade, division. No problem. That's 2 levels of difference. So he can command this battalion. This guy can only command the battalions under his command. So even if this guy was close enough to him, he could not command him. But he could, because he's close enough, and you can command 2 levels below where you're at. Okay, so the division artillery is also a unit. It's part of the division, so it's directly part of his command. So either one of these brigade commanders, as long as they're in range, can command this unit. Okay, so far so good, right? So brigades, these would command his own brigades. He would command his own brigades. But because he's out of range for this guy, he can't command it. But that's okay, because he's got that. He's taking care of it. So when this brigade activates, right, because you activate 1 brigade at a time, when this brigade activates, I would still move this battalion, even though it's not directly under this brigade commander's command range. It is still in command. It's just coming directly from him. Okay. Now, this is where the tricky part comes out, because right now, everybody commands everything in their battalions and their division and everything, so that's all good. But when you go up to the corps commander, which is the scale of my rules that I'm writing, a corps commander should really only ever be on the battlefield if you have 2 or more divisions on the battlefield. And then he's got to split his attention between 2 division commanders, right? So he would put him under command, and then these guys then that would be fine. But remember, 2 levels below. So if this guy happened to be there, where he's out of his range, let's call it 8 inches, right? This guy definitely has him under command, but he doesn't have him under command. But it's okay because he can command him directly because he is 2 levels below. So the Corps Commander can command any brigade commander. But now, let's throw this one out there. Let's say this brigade commander was there, right? And this battalion is now not in range of this division or this brigade, but he is in range of the Corps Commander. He is still out of command because he can only reach 2 levels below, which is 1, 2. He cannot reach the 3rd level. So even though he is inside his radius, because if he had a 10-inch radius, hypothetically, then 10, 8, 6 is kind of what I'm thinking. That's my generic general scales. Some generals will have more, some generals will have less, just depending. But I'm thinking 10, 8, 6. If this is more than 6, and it doesn't matter, if it is still within 10, it's not in command. Because that might also be more than 8. If it was within 8, for whatever reason, then it would be under command, because remember the 2-level rule. I hope I explained that pretty good. And that's why I needed to take some pictures and put that on a poster. No, put that on a t-shirt. No, okay. Now, I'm emulating a lot of this off of other rule systems. I'm taking ideas and concepts from a lot of other different rules and taking what I like and what I don't like and making a conglomeration of these rules. But there's a philosophy or there's an idea that the command element in the battalion is in the center front of the battalion, in line, column, whatever. And when you measure command radius, that you have to measure to the front of the unit. Well, that's not the case in my game. All you have to do is measure from the edge of the base of the general to the closest corner tip of the battalion. A lot like Napoleon's battles. All you have to do is measure from the general to any edge of the battalion. And in like Land of the Free, you have like a radius, and the front edge of the unit has to be within that radius. Well, that's a little anal, in my opinion. That's a little bit too excessive. Now, there's a little... when it comes to artillery, the limber piece is not going to be measured in that command. The limber does have to be on the battlefield, but it doesn't have to necessarily be exactly right behind the unit, right? It doesn't have to be there. When changing formation with an artillery piece, and I might need to take a couple of photos of this actually now that I'm bringing this subject up. To reach command and control on an artillery battery, you have to actually reach the combat element and not the limber itself. The limber is there. It does take up space on the battlefield. It is part of the unit, but it's kind of like, how do I explain it? It's kind of like a ghost, where this is the unit and this is a token that you're placing next to your unit. It could be placed there, it could be placed there, or there or there. Basically, it has to be, and I'm going to say, within an inch of your unit. Okay. All right, so now, here we go. We know how the limber looks. Okay, it's the limber in front of your combat unit. Okay, now at this point, in this formation, the unit is the entire thing. The entire thing is the combat unit. So to be in command, you can reach any edge of a limbered unit. When it unlimbers, you have to measure to that. This doesn't give you like an extra 3.5 inches or 80 millimeters or whatever it is to your general. You don't get that. But while limbered, you could measure to the tip of the limber. That's no problem. Because theoretically, what's happening is there are limbers here and a gun, limbers and a gun, limbers and a gun, limbers and a gun. There's these limbers and these guns are distributed throughout the entire length of this unit. Okay, so you are measuring to the combat element. But once it deploys, you no longer are. But I've considered taking this off the table, and then, so when you're deployed, the limber is nowhere to be found, and so you know exactly where everything is at. And then when they go to limber up, you just grab one of your limbers on the side of the table and you deploy them. That is still in the side of my head. That's still technically making this like a token that is on or off the table. I kind of like that idea. It cleans the table up. You deploy, boom, the limber is off the table. Can't get involved in a combat. You're not even thinking about measuring range to it for command and control. You don't need any of that because the limber's not actually on the table getting in the way. But alternatively, I do want it to be in the way. I want, because it doesn't disappear. The limbers, there's like, if this is 8 guns, there's 8 limbers running around. Where are they? Well, they're right there. Within an inch of your deployed battery. Okay. So this is what I thought. To deploy or Okay, so let's talk about deploying from limbered first. Okay, so there's your march column. And you're saying, okay, I'm changing formation, I'm using one of my actions, I'm going to change formation. You take one of your guns and you place it touching the limber anywhere around the limber. Front, back, left, right, even my front can be touching my limber. I can have it deployed like that. I could deploy it like this. It doesn't matter, right? It's all 100% up to the player how they want to deploy. So let's say I'm just taking the back gun, and if I only have one gun, I would just do the same thing with the one gun. But I'm basically just taking one gun and I'm placing it wherever I want to place it. But it has to be touching the limber. Then pick the limber up, take the other gun, and deploy it directly to the side of either side of the gun that you placed touching the limber. And then you take your token and you just set it down beside the gun, behind the guns. Boom, they just deployed. That was one move action. Changing formation is one move action. So changing formation from attack column to line is one move action. And remember, you can like move and shoot, or move twice, or shoot with a bonus. Okay. Now the trick comes with limbering up. Now I considered doing it in reverse. Taking the limber token, placing it anywhere on the gun, facing it in any direction, but I've decided against that. To limber up, we're going to replace one of the guns with the limber. So we just pick a gun up and we lay it right next to the gun that's already deployed. And then we just put the other two guns, or three guns, behind it. Simple enough. And then it moves out like that. The only way it falls apart is if it's a half battery. So you got one gun. It's firing, it's doing its thing. Guess what? You put the limber beside the gun, either left or right, or behind. Okay? Left, right, or behind. And then you pick up the gun and you deploy it, or limber it up. And then it moves out from there. I guess you could do behind as well on a 2 or 3 gun battery. You can replace one of the guns, and then everything forms up behind that. Or I could replace the right gun, everything forms up behind that. Or if I really felt like it, I could put it behind. I don't know why you would ever do that, but you can. So it's left, right, or behind one gun. Now, if there's 2 guns deployed, you don't take the limber and put it to the side like that and then limber up. You actually replace one of the guns. The only time you put it beside is if it's a single half battery. I probably should take some photos of that and explain that in Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to take some photos because I can see where that would be confusing. I see where that would be not what people are used to. Because a lot of people just know, okay, I got my limber there. I'm going to take my gun and I'm going to replace my limber, you know. But what I found is the same thing with measuring creep. I don't know if you're familiar with measuring creep. And I do mean the creep who's doing the measuring, not the measuring sneaking up. No, it's actually both. Have you ever seen a guy on a table take a miniature and decide he's going to go 6 inches? So he measures from the front of his unit, right? Got the 6, got the 0, everything's good. And then he puts the back side of the unit on there. Have you ever seen that? I've seen it more times than I would like to admit. You would think that people are smart, specifically people that play war games. They're analytical. They would know that the front is on the 6. So the front needs to be on the 0. You would think. But some people, and then here, okay, now that's just outright cheating, okay? But this is measuring creep. And I've seen people do it not intentionally. Measuring creep is not an intentional. It's not intentional. But they don't put the ruler on the table. This is one thing I've noticed. They don't put the ruler on the table. They hold the ruler above the miniatures. And you will see this a lot. I've seen it more times than I would like to admit. I am very analytical. You probably already know that about me. And I am very observant when it comes to table manners. And this is something that people do without realizing it. And it's very hard to point it out to them every time. And I've tried to be as diplomatic as possible, pointing this out to people. And every time I've pointed it out, they've assumed that I am assuming they are cheating. It is not the case. I don't think you're doing it intentionally. I think you just don't know any better. Which is, I guess, worse. It makes it sound like you're an imbecile. But I don't mean it that way. I'm trying to help. I've been wargaming for, 50 years. Okay. What they'll do is they'll hold their miniature and they're lining up with their eyeball. Okay. They're lining up with their eyeball the 6 to the front of the base. And I'm squinting. I'm squeezing an eye. I'm looking down as a sniper. And because I want to be correct. And then I will move it to the 0. Did you see what I just did? Okay. I'm going to do this again. This is lined up on the 6. Oh, that's not even right. That is lined up on the 0. That should be 6 inches, right? It's not. Let's put a ruler down. That's 6. That's 0. It's a little bit of a creep. It's not intentional. It's not even that big of a deal. But it is a half an inch. And when things are only moving 3 or 4 inches, and when things are only shooting like 3 or 4 inches, that's a big deal. And I try to tell people, I say, hey, that was more than 6 inches, dude. But you can't, but you don't have the original position anymore because he's already moved the miniature. He's holding the ruler up like this. He's lining it up. He's trying to be good. Okay, I'm going to move it up to 6 inches. Okay, hold on. There we go. That's perfect. 6 inches. No, it's way more, depending on how you hold that ruler. So, putting the ruler on the table beside the unit eliminates that measuring creep, is what I'm saying. When you hold it up, your eye gets, what's the rule called? I think it's called, oh, there's a word for it. The parallax. That's what it's called. It's the parallax effect when you take your eye, you angle it at one point and you angle it at another point. Depending on how far away from the surface it is, that gap becomes bigger and bigger. Because if I held the ruler like 6 feet away from the table, that 6 inches would be like over a foot on the table. Okay, I don't know why I got into the parallax effect, but yeah, so, oh yeah, this is the point. You got an artillery piece, and when players get their limber, and let's say you've got a single gun, and you pick it up and you're trying to put it, a lot of times you will not put it exactly where the other unit was. You're going to put it either a little bit in front of it, a little bit behind it, or whatever. And by forcing someone to place the limber directly to the side of the unit, you're eliminating the parallax effect. Voila. Little science lesson today. Sorry about that. Okay, so we got, oh yeah, I needed to take a picture of the parallax. No, I mean, I got to take a picture of the limber and unlimber step by step. Step by step. Okay, don't need a rule because that's irrelevant. All right, so I should have a charge. Yes, there we go. So, artillery changing formation. Step 1. Everybody's deployed in a march column like so. Step 2. Take one of your guns, deploy it anywhere touching your limber. I want to do it, I don't know if I should do it on the side or the front or the back. There we go. I'll just put it like that. You take one of your guns and you place it touching the limber anywhere around the limber. Let's give a couple of examples. Like that. Or even if you wanted, like that, facing back towards the limber. Okay, we'll go back to this piece. All right, step 3. Take your other gun. No, you don't. Step 3, move the limber out of the way. Step 4, take your gun and place it to either side of the deployed gun. And then finally, putting your limber back near your guns. Now your guns are deployed. Now, limbering, that's the reverse element. Okay, we've got our guns deployed. Step 1, take one of the guns, put it off to the side. Step 2, put your limber in its place. Step 3, limber everything up. Okay, this is where it falls apart, when there's only one gun. If there is only one gun, deploy the limber to either side of the gun. And then pick up the gun and put it back. All right. All right, that should have cleared up limbering. All right, I got 4 minutes till 12. Luckily, I've got it recording, so I actually like letting it play a little bit on the screen or on the DVR, and that way when I can fast forward through some of the commercials and stuff. Okay, Yeah, I was thinking combat, like photos of different situations, like charging and like a line against a column and a column against a line and positioning and stuff like that. But I don't think I need, I really don't need those photos, really. And I'm thinking I'll do those photos later. I want to work on, size of the units, formations, command and control, changing formation, get that out of the way, get that sealed, and then worry about the rest later. So, I've got these, I got this Arizona, well, I've got these new monster boxes too, now that I think about it. But I think I got an Arizona box on the floor that I can put these buildings in. Okay, so that is pretty much the end of what I was going to do today with the camera. I am going to transfer it to the computer and then go through and edit. I thought about doing what like Warlord Games does when they take when they're doing their editing, they take a chunk of the terrain, the table, and they will rewrite it on the picture over the front edge of the base, so you don't actually see a base, right? They take the edge of the base and they basically blend it with the terrain. I don't know if you've noticed that, but they do that a lot. But that's not the purpose of these photos. These photos are for players to see the bases and where they are and how they're deployed and things like that. Yeah. Okay, so double line cav will get a bonus, or single line cav will get a penalty. I think the standard should be double line cav, and then if you decide to deploy in single line, that should be detrimental. I think that's what I'm going to do. Give you incentive to stay in the base formation. Yeah. Instead of, I mean, the effect is the same. Like, give them a better modifier in double line than you do in single line, but make it sound like you're penalizing them for being in single line, when in effect it's just one, it's just however you look at it actually. Okay, so yeah, let me put these French guys up on the shelf. These Frenchies, I have like 2 divisions of French finished, it looks like, or pretty close to it. So I need to do another French division, because what do they got? They got the 5th, the 6th, and the 9th. At Quatre Bras. Some brigades have like 6 battalions, so I might be a little bit behind a division. I probably need about, I think I'm at about 50% is what I'm thinking. Yeah, I just don't have enough fingers to get all 6 bases. Yeah. I can pick up 5 bases, but just not 6. Okay. The allies I got to rebase a lot of them, but I also have got a lot of painting to do on them as well. Not much really. All I've really got is, well, I haven't done any of the Dutch Belgians. I can tell you that right now. I don't know any of the, well, that's not true. I did the Dutch Belgian Cav somewhere. Yeah, I've done the Dutch Belgian Cav, but I don't have the Dutch Belgian infantry or the militia. And I regret something that I'm just going to have to force my way through. There is a militia flag from the Fighting 15 flag sheets that I put on a 10mm unit just to see what it would look like, and it looked really good. 15mm flags go on 10mm miniatures really well, and I did that. And then now that I'm trying to paint the Dutch Belgian militia, I'm minus 1 flag because I prematurely put it on a 10 millimeter unit. Because I thought at one point I was going to be doing all my Napoleonics in 10 millimeter, and then I changed my mind. I said, no, let's go with 15s. And that's kind of the reason. It's kind of one of the reasons why I've been putting off doing the Dutch-Belgian militia, because I don't have that one flag. But I can do the militia with a flag pole and no flag. That's fine. Or I could just take a piece of paper and paint it orange and just give them a solid orange flag, which I think I might do actually. Just to give them and then maybe take a pen and scribble on it or whatever, just to give it like a fake, whatever the flag is supposed to look like. Because I don't think I have, I've already used all these flags. That's the Guard Division. I kept it because of this little anecdote right there, which I thought was pretty good. Okay, so this is the 6th Division with the Best's Hanover. And then these guys are the 1st Hanover, right? And then these guys are the 5th Infantry Division with Vinke's Division, or Brigade. But I'm not going to be using those because Best replaced Vinke at Quatre Bras. It's the 9th Division. No, 9th Brigade. It's part of the 5th Division. Okay, and here we go. This is the one I'm talking about. That brigade right there. It's missing. Because they got the Dutch Jaegers, 7th Belgian Line, and then 5, 7, and 8 militias. And you can see that that is all orange, but it's got some gold lettering. I could probably not worry about the lettering and just give them an orange flag. Make it that size, the same size as these other flags. And call it a day and be happy with it. Now here's the Netherlands. But the white flags are normally their line battalions. And the yellow is their Jaegers. I think. I don't remember. Yeah, those are all the units I still need to do. Now I've thought about just going to War Flag or something and just printing out a flag, or going to GMB and ordering the Dutch-Belgian militia flag. But I mean, it would be cheaper just to get the entire division again from Fighting 15, because you get the entire division sheet for the same cost as one Dutch-Belgian flag from GMB. But I don't want to pay $5 for just one flag. it just makes me feel horrible inside thinking about that. Okay. This is a little news for the channel. I'm thinking I'm still going to have a Wednesday stream. But I might not. I might have it on Tuesday. I might have it on Thursday. It just depends. I got a D&D game coming up on Wednesday, which doesn't interfere with the afternoon live stream, but I'm going to tell you now that, and I'm going to tell you later too, because it's getting ready to be December, right? It's the end of November. It's getting ready to be December. And then in 1 month time, it'll be the new year, 2023. Can you imagine it? 2023. Okay, but my issue, my point is, it's not an issue. My point is, the prices for my work and the prices of the items that are on my store are going to change. Some of them are going to go up. Some of them are going to go down. Some of them are going to go sideways. No. I'm going to have a sale starting on the 1st, probably. It'll be after Christmas sale, one of those kind of deals. But then immediately after the sale, my prices are going to better reflect the change in the global economy. Let's just say that. I've noticed over the last couple of months that mainly because I've been doing a lot of commission work, that I'm not charging enough for my commission work. I'm starting to realize that. But that's okay. That's all right. Starting on the 1st, gonna have a sale, and I'm gonna make an announcement probably sometime during December that my commission work prices are gonna change. Something I've considered is getting a website, a free one even if I have to, just a free little website, just something that people can go to see like photos of my past commission work, but also to read about prices, my price scheme or scale or whatever it is for like shipping and basing and assembling, because I have a different price if I have to build your tank and paint it. It's different than if you sent me an assembled tank and you wanted me to paint it. Same thing with these miniatures. It really came to light when I started painting these Italians. The Italians, I loved them. They went together easy. I had no issue with assembling all these Italians. The only issue that I had was the price that I quoted this individual was a price based on pre-assembled or metal models. So if you send me a metal model, it's pretty much already assembled. I have one price. But if you send me a plastic model with like 40 pieces that have to go into this one little model, I can't charge you the same price. My customer is very understanding, and there's no animosity or I'm not upset with him or anything. I'm upset with me for not quoting the proper price. I failed, not him, right? So I want to get a website out there, mainly so that when someone says, how much do you charge? I don't have to tell them. I can point at the website and say, go there and read the price schedule. And you will see everything I'm talking about. The advantage is if you have pre-assembled models, you'll see, like if you decide to build your own, let's say you have German Grenadiers from Warlord Games. You know they come in multiple pieces. Let's say if they're little plastic model kits, and you assemble them all. The advantage of doing that is you build them in the poses you want. You build them in the equipment that you want, and you give them their loadout based on what you want. You're not relying on me to do it. So that's a big advantage. Also, I charge less because I didn't have to build them myself. But if you want me to assemble them, understand that I'm going to pretty much build them the way I want to build them, obviously. But I'm going to build them, what am I trying to say? I'm going to build them with a variety of poses, a variety of different weapons, different loadouts and stuff like that. And I'm going to try to be as generic as possible, right? Because I want to say, okay, a Grenadier carries this type of equipment. Boom, that's what I'm going to put on this model. I'm not going to put extra knives on his back, or I'm not going to put a ball cap on him when helmet option is an option, right? I'm going to put a lot of helmets. Maybe you wanted everybody in a soft cap. And that's where there's a little bit of a breakdown in the, I'm building them, but I'm going to do my best. But when you receive them, you might say, oh, damn, I don't have enough ball caps. They're all in helmets. Okay. So I want to also put something on the website that explains that and lets you know that, you know, you get what you get. And, yeah, so I don't know. I just want to make it clear to everybody what you're getting when you commission me, okay? If you commission me for a 15 millimeter tank or a 28 millimeter tank, what the prices are and what to expect when it comes to decals or assembling or basing. And the Italians here that I just finished is really where the majority of the discussion comes from. Okay, this box right here, which I just moved the camera so that you could see me, but now I need to show you the Italians. Okay, there's a lot of Italians here. They look great. I did a really good job on these, and I just want to admit I spent more time than I should have on getting their uniforms right. This has got this, like, it's a gray, blue, green uniform, but okay. And then there's the camouflage for the paratroopers. There was a lot of assembly with this. I had to assemble half of these models, the anti-tank gun, the anti-aircraft gun, the machine gun, the mortar, the light mortar actually had to be assembled. The Bangalore torpedo had a guy, even the metal machine gun, you had to glue on a bipod. And and then there was the box set of just all plastic, so I had to assemble all that as well, which is fine. I don't mind doing it. But what I noticed was it took me some days, right? Because, as you know, I washed the models. And then I assemble them. The assembly process actually took like 2 days, which is considerable. That's like 16 hours, because I work almost 8 hours a day when I'm working. Today I'm not working. Well, I guess this is technically working, but it was my personal project. But it took me like 16 hours, 2 full days of assembly. And how much did I charge this customer for assembly? To assemble everything that I did assemble, I charged him $9. Or maybe 12, but I think it was 9 to 12. But either way, we'll just call it $10. $10 for 2 days of work. No. That right there, the painting and all that was no problem at all. But the assembly, it took me forever to assemble these. Part of the assembly process is gluing the figure to the base. I consider that part of the assembly process. Gluing his radio to his back. Gluing the ammo can on the base. There was just a lot of gluing being done, which is okay. It wasn't hard at all. It just took 2 days, and I had only charged $1 per unit for gluing. So, like, $1 for that artillery piece, $1 for that anti-tank gun, $1 for that mortar, $1 for that machine gun, 1, right? I think I charged like $2 to assemble 30 infantry models. It wound up being about $10. $10 to assemble this entire army, which is approximately 100 guys. Now, it didn't wind up being just $12 for that commission. But I'm now realizing that assembly, my price and time scale is way off for assembly. For painting, not so much. For painting, it's pretty much on point. I charge about $5 to $6 a model. And that normally means you've sent it in to me assembled. So that's one thing I want to do. I don't know. I'm going to have to look around to see who the best I think Wix makes a website generator that's free. You just sign up. It can have the most ridiculous name. It doesn't. Now, I tried GoDaddy at one point, and I also tried Engine. Now, I used the Engine website generator when I did Here, let's do this. There, now you can see up my nose. No, I did an engine website generator when I was running a guild in MechWarrior, and that works really good for guilds. But when it comes to, okay, I don't think you would like looking directly. Oh, okay. I don't think you want to look directly into the light. I got nothing but lights everywhere. Hey, there we go. It's that zoom. I zoomed in so far so you could see the table here. That now you see I'm zoomed in. Okay. So Engine was fine. Engine's a good site. You can name it pretty much whatever you want. It's engine.com/whatever you pick. And they do have an option where if you want to make it an official website like a .com, then you just pay like a monthly service fee. Actually, Engine charged a monthly service fee if you don't want ads popping up all over the place. Wix, I've only kind of looked at them. I heard they were good, so I'm leaning towards them. I'm gonna have to review their site to see if I can make a good website. And my website's not gonna be. It's not gonna be like a, it's not gonna be a Twitter. It's not gonna be a YouTube or anything like that. All it is going to be a page called Gallery, which is going to have some photos of a variety of different models, just so that my customers can see what kind of work I do. And then there will be a page with like a pricing scheme and how to and where to ship models to and how to get them to me and where to email me and start a conversation. And then another page will be terms and conditions about, what I expect from you and what you can expect from me. And that's it. That's all it has to be. It doesn't have to be, it's not a store. I'm not selling stuff on that website. I've got eBay for that. Not that I couldn't sell stuff on there. I can, but I'm not going to actively turn it into a store. It might be a store. I might put some items on there, t-shirts or whatever. I don't know what I'm going to do. But I am thinking about branching out a little bit, getting a website just to organize my commission work. Mainly the commission work. I'll probably call it Wargaming in Miniature in some fashion. Wargamingminiature.com or something like that, or .org or .net or .bs. I don't know. .ru, .cn, .tn. Yeah, because there is a .tn. For Tennessee, but that's usually government though. .gov. No, it won't be .gov. So the assembly thing is really what was throwing me off. Yeah. Other than that, I don't really have anything else that I want to talk about. By the time I go live again, which I'm thinking Tuesday, maybe? I'm actually thinking Tuesday because that way it'll let me take the Wednesday morning off and get ready for the D&D game. all this week I am free because, I don't know if you know this, but my wife has gone to visit her son who's in the Air Force for Thanksgiving, and she's going to stay there for probably another week or so. And then when she comes back, she's going to go dog sitting for one of her friends. So the last 2 months or so, she's been away a lot. Good for her. I'm feeling much better. We started this show with me running to the bathroom, and now I'm feeling much better. I'm not going to order a flag. Oh, flags. Yes. FYI, I am planning on doing some Prussians. Some Prussian models, 28 millimeter Napoleonic Prussians. I have 0 Prussian flags. So I think they're only £3 for a Prussian flag set, because they come in 2s, because there's a lot like the British. They carry the regimental flag and their nationality flag, or their province actually. So I'm going to figure out how many I need, because I've got a ton of Prussian models, and I'm going to paint some this next week. I'm going to build a tank and do some Prussian models, because a tank, which is a Firefly. This is a Old Glory Prussians. These are front rank Prussians, and I have some Wargames Atlantic Prussians. I'm going to open one of those box sets. It comes with 60 models. That's why I got 3 of these command sets, so I could make 3 battalions easily, and I can make 1.5 battalions easily with this. So we're looking at 4, maybe 5 battalions of Prussians. So I just want to figure out which ones I'm going to do, and so I need to know which flags. I got those out, so later today I'm going to go through their uniforms and make sure they match the uniforms of the Prussians that I'm going to do, because I was reviewing some of the uniforms and I was noticing that some had long coats, some had the short waistcoats, some had the long tail, some had the short tail, the turn back area, the little butt flap. Some had the way the buttons were, and so I'm doing my research right now is what I'm doing. So today, tomorrow, I'll probably do some research, and then I'm gonna order some flags. I hate doing it. I'm gonna tell you right now, I hate deliberately ordering flags to paint something that I'm going to be selling. I don't know what it is. I like just normally pulling a flag off the shelf that I already have and painting, but I don't have any Prussian flags. I can't. I don't have any. I got a ton of flags standing over there, but none of them are Prussians. So I'm going to get some Prussians. It's all going to the store. It's all going on my shelf right there, which is the majority of my for sale on the YouTube channel. eBay. So today and tomorrow maybe I'm going to evaluate the miniatures that I have available while I'm putting this Firefly together. And then once I figure out the 5 battalions, I think it's going to be 5 battalions. Once I figure out the 5 battalions that I need, I'll order that. That'll only be like £15. So that won't be too bad, plus probably shipping. So it'll be like 20 pounds probably. And then that'll probably take like 3 or 4 weeks for me to get, specifically with the holiday and everything. By then, the 3 or 4 weeks, I should have those Prussians finished. And then I'll just attach flags. Right? So then, by the time I get the flags, the Prussians should be done. Plus, I've got some more Americans. And where do I got them? I got them on the shelf over here. I got some more Americans, and I've got some SS that I've got to do. So there's quite a bit going on there with the commissions as well. If I already have some commissions in-house right now, before the, whatever commissions I get in before the 1st, I'm gonna honor my original quotes, you know, and not, they won't be affected by any price changes coming up when I set up the website. Basically, what do they call that? You'll be grandfathered in. All right, guys, I'm going to stop the stream. I'm going to go watch the Titans game, and you guys have a good rest of your Sunday.